You know that pit in your stomach when your kid says, "Mom, are you coming to my game?" And you pause because you honestly don't know if you'll make it? Or that guilt that creeps in when you're sitting at your desk late, scrolling through pictures your partner texted you of bedtime stories you missed again. If you're lying awake at night wondering if your kids are getting your leftovers, this episode is for you. Because the truth is, it's not that you're bad at time management. It's not that you don't care. It's the way you're building your career is leaving no space for what matters most. But here's the good news. You don't have to choose between being present at work and present at home. There are simple career shifts that can buy you back time with your family without burning everything to the ground. And today, I'm going to walk you through them. Hey mama, welcome to Career Growth for Working Moms. If you're stuck in a job that doesn't fit or burning out trying to do it all, you're in the right place. I'm Shannon, a career coach and fellow working mom. Here, you'll get simple career strategies and strength-based leadership tips to help you grow with clarity and confidence. So grab your coffee or reheat it for the third time and let's do this. Hey mama, welcome back to the show. So let me ask you this. Have you ever had that moment where you're sitting at your desk looking at the clock and realizing you're going to miss bedtime again? Or maybe you've made it home, but you're still half in your inbox, half at the dinner table, nodding along with your kids as they tell you about their day, except you're not really hearing them. I know that sting. I lived in that cycle for years, always torn, always guilty, always wondering if my kids were just getting the tired, distracted scraps of me. And I told myself there were only two options. Either I kept hustling in my career and miss out on family life, or I pull back, sacrifice my goals, and resent it later. Neither option felt good. But here's what I learned. There's a third option, and it doesn't require burning everything down. It's about making small but powerful career shifts that open up more time for the people you love most. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. We're going to talk about why family time always gets squeezed out, 3 specific shifts that can actually give you your time back, and why being present at home makes you a stronger leader at work. So if you've been lying awake, wondering how to make all this work without losing yourself or your family, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. So let's be real for a second. Family time doesn't just magically vanish. It's not like you woke up one day and thought, you know what? I'd love to give up bedtime snuggles and soccer games. No, it gets squeezed slowly, subtly. And most of the time, we don't even notice it until we're sitting there wondering, how did I get here? There are a lot of reasons this happens, but in my coaching, I see 3 big ones come up over and over again. And as I go through these, I want you to be really honest with yourself about which one sounds like you right now. The first one is overcommitment at work. It usually starts small. Your boss asks if you can take on just one more project. A coworker needs help and you don't want to let them down. Somebody volunteers you for a committee because you'd be perfect. And of course, you're capable, so you say yes. But here's what I want you to catch. Every yes you give at work is an invisible no at home. So when you say yes to staying late for the meeting, that's a no to bedtime stories. When you say yes to answering emails after dinner, that's a no to sitting on the couch with your partner. I had a client named Lauren who came to me completely drained. She's like, I don't get it. I'm doing everything they ask of me, but I feel like I'm missing everything that matters. And when we pulled up her calendar, it was obvious. Her work commitments had expanded so much that her family literally had no room left. So let me ask you, where are you saying yes out of pressure when deep down you wish you could say no? Just notice what comes up. The second one is unclear boundaries. This one is sneaky because most of us think we have boundaries, but really, they're blurry at best. It sounds like, I'll just check my email real quick before bed. Or it could be, I'll only work for 20 minutes after dinner. Or I'll take the call during soccer, but hey, at least I'm still there. And suddenly, yes, you're physically in the room, but your mind completely somewhere else. I know this one because I've lived it. There was a stretch where I was so proud of myself for being present at dinner, but honestly, my head was still spinning with tomorrow's deadlines and what I forgot to finish. And I'll tell you this, kids can feel it when you're only half there. So let me ask you, where are your boundaries blurry? Where do you tell yourself you're being present, but if you're honest, you're still half at work? Okay, the third one, financial fear. This one hits deep. And listen, it's valid. So many of us stay in high stress jobs longer than we want to, or keep stretching ourselves thinner and thinner because we're scared of what will happen if we don't. I had a client named Jenna who said to me, I feel like my paycheck is handcuffs. Oof, that one got me. She wanted more time with her kids, but the thought of stepping back or setting firmer boundaries felt terrifying because of the money piece. And here's the truth I shared with her. Yes, money matters, but so does what it's costing you. The paycheck might be steady, but if you're buying your burnout and your absence from the very years you can't get back, it's more expensive than you think. So what if money weren't the issue? What shift would you make tomorrow to reclaim family time? Just sit with that for a second. Okay, let's recap for just a second, Mama. Family time gets squeezed by overcommitment at work, blurry boundaries, and financial fear. And if you're nodding right now because you see yourself in one, or maybe all three, please hear me. You're not broken. You're not failing. You're human. And there's a way through this. Because the good news, you don't have to burn your career to the ground to fix it. There are simple, practical shifts you can make that open up space for your family without losing your momentum at work. And that's where we're headed next. Okay. Let's start with the first shift that can buy you back real time with your family. Boundaries. Now I know boundaries can feel like this big, intimidating word, but really it just means deciding where your work ends and your family begins, and then protecting that line even when it's uncomfortable. And let me be honest with you, I did not nail this at first. There was a season where my kids would ask me to play after dinner and I'd say, yeah, just give me 5 minutes. And then 5 minutes, it turned into 45 because I was still answering emails on my phone. By the time I finally looked up, they'd already moved on without me. And I'd feel crushed because technically I was there, but I wasn't with them. Maybe you've had a night like that too. So here's what I learned. It wasn't enough to want family time. I had to protect it with boundaries. So I started small. I picked one boundary I could keep, even if it was awkward. For me, it was no emails after 8 p.m. That was my line. At first, I'll be honest, it was hard. I'd hear the ping, feel the urge to check her real quick. My brain told me if I don't respond right away, I'll fall behind. But after a week, something shifted. The world didn't fall apart. My career didn't implode, but my kids noticed. My husband noticed, and honestly, I felt calmer because I wasn't half in, half out anymore. So here's your first coaching question. If you were to draw one new boundary this week, just one, what would it be? Maybe it's no calls during dinner. Maybe it's shutting the laptop at 8 p.m. or even 7 p.m. Maybe it's muting Slack after school pickup. Pause and think about that, because here's the thing. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be real. And Mama, I don't want you just to imagine the boundary. I want you to imagine how you'll protect it. Picture yourself sitting at the dinner table. The phone buzzes. Instead of grabbing it, you flip it over, smile at your kids, and ask, so what was the funniest thing that happened at school today? That's what a boundary looks like in practice. It's not about restriction. It's about presence. And if the thought of saying no makes you anxious, let me give you a sentence you can borrow. To your boss, you could say, I want to give this project my full focus, and I've learned that I do my best work during the day. Can we pick this up tomorrow morning? And maybe if you have a client, I reserve evenings for my family, but I'll make sure this is handled first thing in the morning when I log in. Or maybe even to yourself. This moment matters. The email can wait. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about letting the right people in. So let me ask you, what's one line you're willing to draw this week? One not now that makes a space for a yes with your family. Because here's what I know. When you practice even one small boundary, you start to feel the difference immediately. You go from scattered to steady, from guilty to grounded, And that's the shift. That's where presence begins. Okay, let's talk about the second shift that creates space for family time: delegation. Now, delegation can feel tricky, right? Because most of us were raised on the belief that if we want it done right, we need to do it ourselves. And sure, maybe you can fold the laundry faster or crank out that report cleaner, but here's the question: at what cost? Because every time you do something that could have been handed off, you're trading that time. And often the thing you're trading it for is your family. I had a client who was drowning in reports at work. She's smart, she's capable, and honestly, she was better at them than anyone else. But they weren't her strength, and they were eating up hours every week. And she finally trained a team member to take them over. She freed up 5 hours a week, y'all. 5! And her boss was thrilled because she wasn't just doing the work anymore, she was building capacity in her team. And at home, oh, mama, this one can be even harder because sometimes we hold the invisible belief that a good mom does everything: the laundry, the dishes, the school forms, the scheduling. But here's the truth: good moms don't do everything. Good moms show their kids how to share responsibility. I'll give you an example from my own life. There's a point where I was the one doing all the laundry, all of it. One day I thought, why am I the only one carrying this? So I started teaching my kids how to do their own. Was it messy at first? Absolutely. But it gave me back hours every week, and it gave them skills they'll carry for life. So let me ask you, what's one thing you're holding on to that someone else could carry, whether it be at work or at home? Maybe it's that recurring report. Maybe it's packing the lunches every morning. Maybe it's scheduling every single appointment. Here's the kicker: delegation isn't just about time, it's about trust. When you hand something off, you're saying, I believe in you. I believe you can handle this. And that builds confidence in your coworkers, your partner, and your kids. Now, if delegation feels uncomfortable, I get it. So let me give you some language you can borrow. At work, you could say, I know you're ready for some more responsibility. How about you take this piece and I'll check in to support you? At home, you could say, hey, we're a team here. I can't carry it all, so I'm going to show you how to do this task. To yourself, it doesn't have to be perfect. Done is better than perfect if it buys me back time with my family. Mama, let me tell you, delegation is not weakness, it's leadership. And when you practice it, you start to see space open where you thought there was none. So pause with me. Close your eyes if you can. Imagine handing off one thing this week. Imagine the relief when it's no longer on your shoulders. Imagine sitting down with your family during that extra hour you just bought back. That's what delegation does. It creates space for what matters most. Okay, so we've talked about boundaries and we've talked about delegation. But the last shift, this one goes a little deeper. It's about alignment. Now, alignment means asking, am I even in the right role, in the right structure for the life I want? Because here's the thing, sometimes no amount of boundaries or delegation will fix it. Sometimes the role itself is just too out of sync for your values, your family needs, or your season of life. And I know that's a hard truth to face. For years, I tried to force myself into roles that look great on paper, but drain the life out of me. I thought if I just worked harder or hustled smarter or bought another planner, it would finally click. But the truth, no system was ever going to fix a role that wasn't aligned. I have a client named Sarah. She works in a role that demanded 60 hours a week and constant travel. She loves her career, but every time she missed a birthday or a school play, it chips at her. So she came to me and said, Shannon, I'm terrified because no matter how many boundaries I try to set, this job doesn't leave room for my family. And I looked at her in the eye, even on Zoom, and I said, you're right. This job isn't broken. It's not built for the life you want right now. That conversation changed everything for her. Within months, she was shifted into a role that valued flexibility. Was it the same title? No. Was it the same paycheck? Not exactly. But you know what? She was eating dinner with her kids most nights. She was laughing again. She wasn't just surviving, she was present. So let me ask you a hard but freeing question. If your current role never changed, would there ever be enough space for your family? Take a breath. Be honest with yourself, because clarity begins with truth. Now, if your answer is no, don't panic. Alignment doesn't always mean quitting tomorrow. Sometimes alignment is a shift within your role. asking for flexible hours, saying no to projects that don't align with your strengths, advocating for a path that fits better. Other times, yes, it does mean change. But here's the reframe. Change isn't failure. It's wisdom. It's saying, I get to choose a role that supports my life, not suffocate it. And here's where I want you to bring in your leadership style, because how you pursue alignment is going to look different depending on your wiring. You boss ladies in action, alignment might mean being choosier about projects. You don't need to do everything, you need to do the right things. Charismatic queens, alignment might mean chasing impact, not just visibility, saying yes to what lights you up instead of what looks impressive. Heart-centered guides, alignment often means protecting your emotional bandwidth, choosing work that lets you care without carrying everyone else's load. And visionary brainiacs, alignment might mean giving yourself roles where you can think big and innovate without getting stuck in analysis paralysis. So here's my challenge for you this week. Sit with the question, what does alignment look like for me in this season? Not the whole decade, not forever, just this season. And then ask yourself, what's one step I can take toward that alignment right now? Maybe it's having a conversation with your boss. Maybe it's saying no to one committee. Maybe it's just acknowledging this role isn't forever, and that's okay. Because mama, here's the truth. Alignment isn't about having the perfect job, the perfect schedule, the perfect life. It's about making choices that line up with your values. Choices that let you be present with your family and still proud of your career. And when you move in alignment, that's when you stop feeling torn in two. That's when family time doesn't feel like an afterthought. That's when work and life stop competing, and start complementing each other. Okay, mama, let's flip the narrative here, because I know what some of you are thinking. Shannon, this all sounds great, but if I slow down at work to be more present at home, won't that hurt my career? I want you to hear me on this. Being present with your family doesn't make you less of a leader. It makes you a better one, and here's why. When you're constantly drained, stretched thin, running from one task to the next, you're not leading at your highest capacity. You're just surviving. And survival mode leadership doesn't inspire anyone, including yourself. But when you create space to rest, to laugh, to connect with your family, you show up to work recharged, focused, grounded, and that's the kind of leadership people notice. Let me tell you about a client named Amanda. She used to stay at her desk until 7 a.m. Every night, missing dinner daily. She thought it was proving her dedication, but inside, she was fried. Her team could feel it too. She was short-tempered, always behind, always exhausted. Finally, she committed to leaving work by 5:30, 3 nights a week. At first, she was terrified her boss would think she was slacking. But here's what happened. She started showing up the next morning sharper, more focused, and more creative. And you know what her boss told her? I don't know what you're doing differently, but your leadership has really leveled up lately. That's what family time does. It doesn't weaken you. It strengthens you. Now, I want to show you how this plays out depending on your natural leadership style. For you boss ladies in action, family time forces you to step back from the endless checklist. That pause, it gives you perspective. You return with clear priorities instead of just plowing through. If you're a charismatic queen, family time grounds you. It keeps you from chasing applause and helps you connect with what really matters. So your influence becomes more authentic. Okay, heart-centered guides, family time fills your emotional tank. You pour it out all day, but when you let your family pour back into you, you lead with more patience and compassion at work. And you visionary brainiacs, family time actually sparks creativity. Stepping away from overthinking gives your brain space to make fresh connections. You return with insights you never would have had staring at a spreadsheet. So here's the reframe, mama. Family time isn't a distraction from your leadership. It's fuel for it. So let me ask you this. What's one quality you want to embody as a leader, at work or at home? Patience, vision, confidence, connection? Now ask yourself, when was the last time family time helped you strengthen that very quality? Maybe it was building a Lego tower that stretched your patience, or navigating sibling fights that honed your conflict resolution skills, or listening to your teen that deepened your empathy. See what I'm saying? Leadership doesn't just happen in the office. It's being shaped every day around your dinner table, in your minivan, and at your kids' bedtime. So instead of seeing family time as a cost, see it as a classroom, a training ground, a place that makes you the kind of leader who can thrive in any space. So let's pause together. If you can, close your eyes for just a moment. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. I want you to picture yourself 1 week from today. Same job, same responsibilities, same family, but this time you've made one shift. Maybe you drew one clear boundary. You shut the laptop at 7 and left it shut. Maybe you delegated one task you've been carrying for way too long. Maybe you admitted to yourself, this role isn't aligned, and you started exploring what might be better. Whatever it is, see yourself living it. Now, picture walking into your kitchen at the end of the day. Instead of rushing to squeeze family into the cracks, you're present. You're laughing with your kids. You're actually tasting dinner. You're not thinking about that email or that report. That's what even one small shift can do. Because mama, your family doesn't need a perfectly balanced version of you. They just need a present one. Okay, ready for your homework for this week? Number 1, I want you to pick one shift, boundary, delegation, or alignment. Just one. And write it down. Name your why. Why does this matter to you? Tie it to your family, your peace, your energy, and then practice it once. Don't overthink it, just try it. Protect one dinner, hand off one task, say no to one extra thing, and then notice how it feels. Notice the relief, the space it creates. Because here's the truth. Work-life balance isn't about doing everything. It's about choosing better. And when you choose better, your career and your family both win. Now, if this episode gave you something to think about, would you screenshot it and share it with another working mom who needs this reminder? And if you've got 30 seconds, leave a quick review. That's how other women find this show and start reclaiming their family time too. You don't have to sacrifice your career to be a present mom. And you don't have to sacrifice your family to grow in your career. You get to choose. And mama, you're capable of building both. Hey working mama, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to share it with a friend who's stuck in her career but doesn't want to sacrifice her family to grow? Also, please leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It seriously lights me up to know this show is helping you navigate burnout, find clarity, and lead with confidence. All right. Time to shut down my laptop and pretend I'm not hiding from folding that laundry. I'll meet you back here soon for another episode of Career Growth for Working Moms. You've got this.